Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Energy. Let's Talk Energy is a podcast that we have put together to share with you, the listeners, everything about energy. So often when we talk to people and we talk in energetic terms, there's a slight glaze that comes across people's eyes. And so we thought last year that we would start to speak with you about all things relating to energy, whether that be things that can affect our energy or our own energy. And what we decided at that time was that we would keep these podcasts to around 15 minutes so that in your busy lives, you can grab a cup of tea or listen to them in the car and learn a little bit more about your energy. So my name is Jo Dahl, and this is my dear friend and colleague, Amanda Brooks.
Hi.
So last year, as you well know, we started each podcast with which energetic tool we were using for that week. And throughout the year, it got harder and harder to do. So this year, we decided that we would offer you an affirmation and an affirmation. So the affirmation for this episode for you to consider, and of course you can make your own. This is a positive saying in the here and now that when repeatedly said, it absolutely absorbs into your energetic system to offer you that positivity. So the one that I'm going to offer you today is welcome fresh energy and allow life to unfold beautifully for me. I welcome fresh energy and allow life to unfold beautifully for me. And if you repeat that out loud, and actually, if you do it in front of a mirror, it's even more effective. Say it twice a day, repeat it at least 5 to 6 times, and do it for at least a week, if not 2. So, Amanda.
So for me, the Affirmation, which is where we get the subconscious looking around for the answers. So we're not looking for it, but the subconscious loves to look around the why. It's why does my whole being feel lighter, clearer, and more centered each day? So it's why does my whole being feel lighter, clearer, and more centered each day? And ideally with affirmations, if you repeat them out loud 11 times in a row, it's only got to be once a day. But I usually go for 21 days. The reason being is because it takes 21 days for that habit to come in. And we're really wanting the system to look into why does that happen to feel lighter and clearer each day? I mean, it doesn't mean every day will be like that, but hey, got to do something, haven't we, love?
Oh, definitely. And as you know, if you've been listening to our podcast, we don't actually talk about things before we come together in great detail. And yet you've got an affirmation and affirmation that completely align. So we are on the same energetic wavelength. So that's what happens when you know people for a very long time. So welcome. Today we are going to delve a little deeper into an energetic system within that is called the chakra system. Now, last year we touched on this subject, knowing that this is an area that we could delve deeper into in series 2. And so we're going to do that today and explore and explain a little bit more. This is an area of expertise for Amanda. So this podcast is going to be more about her sharing her wisdom with you. But we will weave our way together with this amazing subject. So just in case people haven't listened to last year's episode, could you explain for the listener, please, what is the chakra system? What are chakras? And what are they? What do they do?
Okay, so you will hear many people talk about them in different ways, and there's been 7 major chakras that we've all possibly been aware of over our lifetime, but there are more information coming around about 15 major chakras, but we're just going to focus in on the seven. But they are where there are major nerve plexuses in the body. So there's lots of biochemical information that is going from one part of the body to the other. They're like our energetic interface, like our gearbox of taking the energy that's coming in through our environment, and it actually transmutes it into areas and energy that our body can start to understand. And each of the chakras, they represent different aspects of our being, of our experience, of our creativity, our expression, our intuition. And they are like emotional hard drives. So they take a lot of information and they store it for us. So yeah, that's a little bit about them. But when one is out of balance, then it does affect all of them, because as I say, it's like the gearbox of a car. Everything is working in alignment with each other, and you will hear the word wheel or Sanskrit, and different colors that are associated. But again, a lot of that information is already starting to change, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know what the seven chakras are, can you explain for them what they are and how they can kind of, I suppose, start to connect with them?
Yeah. So if we start from the base chakra, so that is right at the perineum, so between your legs, basically, the root chakra. Then just up from that, you have the sacral chakra. Then you have the solar plexus, which is just above the belly button. Most of us have felt this one because it's the bit where your tummy just flips over, or if you get anxious or something about, then you just feel like your tummy turn. And that can be very much the one that we feel. But with any of these chakras, if they're feeling out of alignment, you can just place your hand over those areas for a few moments, breathing into them, and it helps to bring them into balance. Sometimes it needs a lot more, which is hence where other work will come in. Then we have the heart chakra, which is in line with the armpits on the center. And then the throat chakra. Then you've actually got the brow, which is like the third eye, and then the crown. And as I say, they all have colors associated with them. But even in this last 6 months, those colors are starting to shift and change. And so I would have often have said to people, oh, have blue around the throat because it will help with expression. But that's becoming more of like a turquoise. Okay, it's still a blue, but it's starting to shift and change. And so I go, whatever color you feel your body needs right now, breathe that into wherever your hand is. And that will also help to rebalance the chakra system. But that's the 7 major ones.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. So we can't, I know, today, because we do want to keep these episodes to 15 minutes, but I wondered if we could explore in more detail the base chakra and the sacral chakra.
Yeah.
So starting with the base chakra, tell us a little bit more, well, tell us a lot more about the base chakra.
So with the base chakra, it's about our foundation. It's about our grounding, our rootedness to the earth. So if you are somebody that lives very much up in your head, your base chakra could be out of alignment. And one of the things you could do is that you could I remember years ago telling somebody to wear red knickers or red underpants, because that actually, no one else has to see them, because we're very much wear lots of black, don't we? Winter or summer, people are very blanding with their colour. And I'm not saying you have to suddenly go out there and be very flamboyant, although why not? But wearing different colours underwear can actually really help. So yes, so we've got that red. So if you're very much in your head, then I would definitely be looking at bringing red in, maybe even having a garnet crystal in your pocket, something like that, something that keeps that grounded. Because when the root chakra is in balance, we can feel safe. We can feel stable. We can have this trust in life that you can't always have when this chakra is out of balance. It's very much linked into survival as well. And so if you're in a shock or drama. Sometimes people will get rooted to the ground and they feel that they can't move, but that doesn't mean that their chakra system is in place. It's just saying that their amygdala is fight, flight, and fawn, freeze, whatever that response is. So again, it's keeping this chakra as stable as possible helps you to deal with the events that are going on in life. And when it's blocked, you can have lots of fear, hypervigilance, like really being on high alert. You can, and also it's linked into finances, both the root and the sacral chakra. So if they're out of balance, you can feel financially insecure, and it wouldn't matter what was in your account or not in it. You would have that fear, and that can come from there. But for me, it's also the anchor point for the soul in our physical body. Now, people often think it's the other way around. It'd be the crown chakra, but it's that groundedness. It's being connected in to the earth. So that's, for me, a lot about the chakra for the root. What about, because I know you've got loads of knowledge as well. I know you keep saying I have, but you have too.
So yes, it is, it is around that. For me, it's one of the energies. It is the energy source. And when the base chakra is out of balance, often people are depleted, as well as all of the other emotions that can come up. Very much, you said, in their heads. They can't bring themselves back into their bodies. They can't. They can't connect with people sometimes, even because they're not connected to the earth. So yes, definitely. I often suggest that people wear red. It's energizing as well as balancing and harmonizing. So again, if you're depleted in energy and you're just needing some uplift, wear red, Like Amanda said, you don't have to go out with your bright red trousers on or your red skirt or whatever. But, red is so energizing, as well as weaving in that balance and harmony for that root chakra. So let's move on to the sacral chakra. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, so as I mentioned, it's sort of like between the belly button and your pubic bone, and the sacral chakra sits in that area. And the color that's often associated with it is orange. So you could have like a crystal of citrine in your pocket, or just sort of like somewhere on your body. Again, that brings in orange. Wear orange knickers or pants if you're a guy. As Joe says, you don't have to wear orange trousers, orange skirts, but it is about bringing that color in. Because as we have that color on our body, any light then that hits, even if you feel like, well, they're under layers of clothes, it actually feeds and nourishes the body, because color and sound are incredibly important. But when it's blocked, you can, again, like I mentioned earlier about the financial instability, you can have lower back issues because it can be very much linked into the sacrum itself. You can have difficulty receiving support or appreciation. And, we want appreciation, but at the same time, it's like, oh, no, that's fine. And we can put that down. And it's not about being egotistical or too humble. It's balance. It really is always balance. But this one is also linked into relationship challenges. And as I said about money and receiving, around creativity, massive one with this one. If you have blocks in creativity, it could very often be the sacral chakra. If you've got bad period issues, if you're a female, obviously, then again, it can be just seeing color orange coming in to that chakra area, balancing it, stabilizing it, making things feel that much more balanced for you. So, yeah. What about you, Joe? What do you?
So yes, for me, definitely it's around that. If you imagine that your core is around that area, that stability, that holding yourself, and when that's out of balance, then it can really affect how we are in all aspects of our lives, but also very much around, for ladies, the menstrual cycle, fertility. Often that can connect into that. Lower back pain is definitely something that I've noticed as well with clients. when the sacral chakra is out of balance. And I'm just curious, you say that the colors are shifting and changing a little bit. So what kind of color is the sacral bringing in now?
Well, it's starting to bring in pink, um, which I've often associated more sort of like around the heart chakra area, but it's starting to sort of like bring in the oranges and the pinks. And the other thing that the sacral chakra is linked into is our self-worth. Which actually does make sense about the pink starting to come in as well, because it is that balance. And I often do find that the chakras will almost like converse with each other. So it's like the sacral and the heart will often converse with each other. The root and the solar plexus often, and then the throat with the crown, sometimes with the brow, but often it's like they jump over one. I've noticed that over the decades that I've been working, and I find it fascinating, and I haven't found why, because it's individual for each person.
Definitely. And we talk about when the chakras are out of balance or blocked. And in my mind, when we talk about that, it's like the energy can't move from one to the next. It gets stuck in between. But also we know from the work that we do that sometimes there can be over energy that's passing from one chakra to the other, which then causes the next chakra up to kind of fuse out because it can't cope with the amount of energy that's coming through into it. So, it really is a complex system that as a listener, you might not really value how important this is within the body. But hopefully by us beginning to explain a little bit more about these, that you can then start to work out what you can do if you need to seek some help. Amanda, I'll touch on it in a minute, does some amazing work for the chakra and the chakra system as a whole. Myself, I use tuning forks a lot for the chakras, bringing in vibrational energy, just to help clear, balance and harmonize them. So, if you feel like there's a little bit more guidance or help you need, support you need, then maybe reach out to somebody like us, and energetically we can support you whilst you balance and harmonize your chakra system. So, Madam, I would like you just to touch on your course that you do, because I think, it is so invaluable for people to be aware of these things. So would you like to just explain about that for the listeners, please?
Yeah, so I made this complete standalone module, which you can work through it at your own place. And it's where I am doing certain clearings for each individual chakra. I have a water program in there as well, so that you can program your water to clear that particular chakra. Because there are days and you might just suddenly think, oh, my head just feels so full. My head just feels full. I don't know what to do. And then I say to people, well, use the brow chakra, the meditation, which is 15 minutes long. And all of them are full of different clearings from our ancestors because of what they've been through, plus also what we may have picked up as we've been going through life. And I've worked through all of the major chakras, and then I've actually got programs in there for the auric field, so the field that is around us, because that's where we're again taking in lots of information. And you can work your way from beginning to end. You can dip in, you can dip out. But the reason I wanted to do the program in that way was because you can, of course, we work together with people all the time, and we will clear and whatever it is that's going on. But it's more about the maintenance. It's that keeping oneself as bright as we can once those energy blocks that we've found have been cleared. And so this is really designed as that support tool. What I wanted to do as a free gift for this episode, for the people that obviously want it, and they email the info at letstalkenergy.health and say chakra program, then we're going to do about an 8-minute meditation to help to support to clear your chakras. And there will be a voucher for 50% off the chakra program, which will be valid for about a month.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that gift for our listeners. So, just to recap today, we have delved a little deeper into the chakra system. We have explored in detail the base and the sacral chakra, and we will be visiting the remainder later in the year in bite-sized sections. We also have spoken to you and shared with you an affirmation and an affirmation for this time of year. But of course, you can make your own if you feel called to do so. So we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And there we will be speaking about the importance of being balanced whilst you do any energetic work, because otherwise you're coming from a distorted place. So it's a huge thank you for listening from me.
And a massive thank you for listening from me.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.